Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into the highly anticipated update on the last Witch Hunter sequel that's kept us fantasy action fans waiting for almost a decade. Yup, you heard right. Vin Diesel is back with his D&D Passion Project, and we fans couldn't be more excited. Initially getting mixed reviews, mostly negative, the film has now become a Netflix sensation and is about to get a sequel, so we're here to give you all the tea, hot and piping. Stick around because we're getting right into all the details, intel, cast, and release updates, as well as fan theories. Before we get too deep into this though, we do have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. It's a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. With that out of the way, first up we have Movie Plot Recap. Before getting into the thick of things, let us quickly recap the original movie plot and see how exactly it set up the much-awaited sequel. Let's rewind to 2015. We've got Vin Diesel's Calder, who's a centuries-old immortal hunter. How did he become immortal? Well, he was actually cursed by the Witch Queen who had unleashed the Black Plague and was subsequently killed by Calder. He's been living on and on ever since, and fast forward to the present day, Calder is a part of a witch hunter organization called Axe and Cross, where he's helped and even sort of mentored by Michael Caine's Dolan. He's the 36th, by the way, and this is important. Now, the 36th wants to retire to make way for the 37th Dolan, played by Elijah Wood, who claims that Calder killed the witches that killed his parents. But 36 tragically dies. Well, actually, it turns out he's been cursed by a witch who uses the same old dark magic that was once prevalent during the Witch Queen's time. Now, we won't get into the details of the film, but basically, the culprit is this dude called Belial who wants to revive the Witch Queen, whose heart is still alive and beating. The heart is also linked to Calder, whereby as long as the heart remains beating, Calder stays alive. We're about to enter spoiler territory, so if you haven't seen the film, and what are you doing, go watch it, then you might want to cover up your ears. So, Calder kills Belial, but the Witch Queen is still awoken by some other witch. Naturally, these two centuries-old enemies go at each other, but wait, there's a twist. 37 attacks Calder. Turns out Calder had actually killed 37's parents who were witches, but we guess the Queen didn't like that interruption, so she kills 37. Calder then successfully manages to kill the Queen once more and is about to destroy the heart and sacrifice himself, but is stopped by Chloe, a good witch who's been helping him throughout. She tells him that there are far darker threats than the Witch Queen and he needs to stay alive. Ominous, right? You can clearly see how the film was trying to set up a possible sequel with that comment, plus the team's back together by the end of the film, with 36 back from both retirement and the curse. Where a sequel could take the story. Now, what could the sequel possibly be about? Well, for starters, the Witch Queen's heart is still alive and kicking, which means she could totally return, this time looking for revenge and total domination, which could make the story take a darker turn. This might even lead to Calder demolishing and defeating the Witch Queen once and for all, while also risking his immortality. But I have to admit, that would feel a little repetitive. However, one thing that would be interesting to see is if Calder can find a way to kill the heart of the Witch Queen and still continue living, if there's some sort of spell or something that can detach him from the heart. Moreover, we could get a deep dive into witch lore and explore other witchy villains. Some ancient covens, hidden worlds, maybe even some global-scale witch wars and our trio taking them on. How does that sound? We could even get some past hunters, even older than Calder himself, or mythical artifacts. Some fans even envision modern twists like blending magic with futuristic tech or AI threats. We'd be intrigued to see how they pull that off, but lastly, another possibility is that the film explores Calder's loneliness and constant struggle with immortality. We think that regardless of the storyline, they definitely should and probably will explore this in the film. Vin Diesel's commitment to the franchise. Alright guys, you've probably figured out why this sequel is happening in the first place, but in case you haven't, 2 words. Vin Diesel. The man treats his franchises like they're his very own kids, and he was committed into making this a whole series of films from the very beginning. In fact, even before the 2015 film was released, Diesel revealed that studio execs were eager for a sequel. They had even approached him on set and expressed interest in starting development immediately. Back in 2015, he had posted on Facebook saying that they were so excited about the Axe and Cross franchise that they were already beginning work on a sequel. He even teased the sequel script during the COVID lockdown and talked about how fans had been reaching out to him saying they wanted to see more of Michael Caine and Diesel again, and how grateful he feels for all the love. Of course, we all know about Diesel's love for fantasy films. Did you know that Michael Caine's character was actually inspired by one of Diesel's very own D&D characters? He absolutely loves the sword and sorcery genre, including the Riddick films and, of course, Dungeons & Dragons itself. And considering his love for never-ending sequels, I mean, which Fast and the Furious are we on now? We shouldn't be surprised that a sequel to The Last Witch Hunter is coming our way. Studio position and rights issue. Lionsgate is now actively developing the sequel with Diesel's One Race Films. Now, the first film didn't do so hot and was actually considered a box office flop, having made roughly $147 million globally with a budget of over $80 million. So, why is Lionsgate suddenly deciding to bring it back? Even though critics roasted the hell of it, it saw a miraculous resurrection on streaming platforms. On Netflix, the movie found new life. People who missed it in theaters watched it at home and went, wait, this is actually kind of fun. So naturally, Lionsgate decided to roll out a sequel, especially considering that tech and CGI are cheaper now so they can go bigger, scarier, and witchier. Adam Fogelson, chair of Lionsgate's motion picture group, said The Last Witch Hunter has grown since its theatrical release into a global fan favorite, with audiences continuing to discover and rewatch it across every platform over the past decade. That enduring enthusiasm made clear that there's an appetite for more stories set in this world. Vin and I have partnered many times over the years, and he's a true force in our industry. I'm thrilled to be reuniting with him as he returns to this iconic role, and excited by how advancements in filmmaking technology allow us to now economically deliver a sequel on an even more ambitious scale. They clearly seem hella confident that The Last Witch Hunter will be a huge success, and hey, maybe with their conviction, they'll actually make it happen. Now, as for streaming platforms, while there are none currently attached to produce or distribute The Last Witch Hunter 2, we're expecting Netflix to be the partner considering the first film's streaming success. There's also Peacock, Plex, and Tubi, which also streamed the original film and may get involved again. You may also be wondering why there's such a delay in developing the sequel. Maybe there were rights issues, which are usually the culprit in such situations. But no, there's actually never been any rights issues, and Vin Diesel has even spoken about how Lionsgate has always been supportive and even pushed for a sequel way back. The delay was just because of box office performance and the fact that Diesel had so many other projects lined up. Release date possibilities. Now, let's answer this question. We actually don't have an answer for you because there's not an official release date as of yet, but here's the deal. The sequel is in development, which means it's cooking and you gotta let 'em cook. Lionsgate has already informed us that they're getting the film onto the production fast track, so best case, production starts in the next year or two, and realistically, we're looking at 2027 or 2028. But hey, don't be disheartened. Watching Diesel and Caine will absolutely be worth the wait, and this time, they're coming back bigger and better, especially considering the movie aligns with Lionsgate's strategy to grow IPs that have the power to become franchises and carry sci-fi fantasy value. Returning cast and new faces. Of course, Vin Diesel is confirmed to be returning as our OG witch hunter, Calder. But guess what? Michael Caine is coming out of retirement for the sequel. The man literally announced he was done with acting, but Vin Diesel clearly has some magical persuasion powers. But what about Elijah Wood or even Rose Leslie? Well, things are still in the early days and nothing is confirmed as of yet. However, we will say, considering how the first film ended and the pivotal role Chloe, aka Rose Leslie, has in the first film, there's a pretty good chance we're going to see her again. As for Elijah Wood, probably nothing major since he died in the last movie, but we're hoping he'll show up as a supporting character at least. What fans want to see. So what are all the witchy fans begging to see? Well, we'd say a darker tone, bigger lore, and more epic witch battles. Some fans want to see Calder battle with his own immortality, others want a crossover. Yep, you heard right, a crossover with Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. I mean, imagine Vin Diesel's Calder hanging out with Chris Pine's Bard. Fans have also questioned how Calder will survive without the backing of the Axe and Cross, and we hope the sequel will explore the history of the organization. Challenges and hurdles for the sequel. Now, here's the hard part. We've already mentioned the film didn't do too well at the box office, and neither were critics too fond of it. In fact, the critics were particularly ruthless as the film has an 18% rating on Rotten Tomatoes and 44%, only slightly better, on Popcorn Meter. In North America, it only made $27 million, which made it one of the biggest box office bombs of the year. Now, the sequel is happening because of the cult status it's reached through streaming platforms. It even became one of the 5 most viewed movies on Netflix in 2025, which is insane. Lionsgate themselves have called the film a global fan favorite, and honestly, we can't argue. Fans love it. Some have called it seriously underrated and likened it to watching a video game cinematic. Others note that it's their favorite Vin Diesel film, but it's still not clear how the streaming success will translate to theaters. Audiences watch anything and everything on Netflix simply because it's available, but might not actually buy tickets and go to theaters for the same. But hey, we've still got high hopes for this film, so let's wait and see what happens. Now, what will be very important for the film is technical improvements. The team has already claimed that there will be huge improvements in the visual elements, and we're excited. But they got to do all of it within a budget and not overdo it like last time, so it might be a little tricky. Marvelous verdict! So, there you have it. The witches are rising once more, Vin Diesel is still immortal, and Michael Caine is about to smash retirement into smithereens. There's no release date yet, but the fact that the sequel is officially happening has all of us excited, as it should. You guys have any theories about what to expect from the sequel? Drop them in the comments down below because we really want to see them. And don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the content. Otherwise, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a marvelous day.